I believe that you are now utilizing Bitcoin if you are a real person. One of the early pioneers is you. You will be extremely wealthy if you maintain it. You will remember that you formerly owned billions of dollars worth of Bitcoin, but you sold it for Ferrari, which is regrettable if you take money off the top or sell it. Indeed, I believe that some of the original users will still be actively involved. However, I believe that in the end, 10 to 100,000 major financial institutions will be settling substantial sums through the Base network. Every family owner, business, and look should embrace the Bitcoin standard. What is that? 1 billion families. The Bitcoin standard ought to be adopted by all owners. We will be doing something a little different today. I want to just sort of rip Michael Saylor's blatant hypocrisy apart. The one and only Bitcoin maximalist who shills Bitcoin when it makes no sense at all, ignoring common sense and reason. Here, Michael Saylor discusses how the Bitcoin foundation layer will be used by everyone. For example, it's feasible that Bitcoin will be widely accepted by the public today so that people can transact with one another. Since the Layer 1 solution for Bitcoin takes 15 minutes each transaction, you can't even accomplish this today on the Lightning Network, which is the fundamental Layer 2 solution. The reason why your favorite restaurants and many others aren't using Bitcoin at the moment is because they require a sizable Bitcoin reserve to enable such transactions if they wish to use the Lightning Network. And given the price of Bitcoin, that is very expensive. However, the cost would be much reduced if these same companies adopted XRP, Solana, HBAR, even BNB, Cardano, or any other cryptocurrency. Transactions would be completed more quickly and they wouldn't have to deal with the hassle of purchasing a highly valuable asset. The setup costs were thousands and thousands of dollars. However, no one will do it in order to occasionally receive another Bitcoin transaction. There is simply no sense about it. People aren't able to use this technology. In any case, Michael Saylor will go into great detail on why he believes that Bitcoin is the best thing since sliced bread and that everyone should use it. I'll explain to you why I don't believe that to be the case and why I believe he is referring to other cryptocurrencies. Because the world will truly alter as a result of those innovations. Let's watch the video though. If you're a member of the XRP HBAR army, remember to hit the like button. Indeed, let's listen to his thoughts. The ideal way to think about money in the current world is to think of it as having both a store of value and a means of exchange. Additionally, there are units of account for the medium of exchange and the store of value. Consider the dollar versus Bitcoin or the checking account versus the savings account as the appropriate metaphor. You will therefore have high-speed dollar-type tools to price items on a daily basis. Following that, you will have another capital asset that you will employ to hold your value for a century. For example, no one is asking me because I don't manage a nation, but I believe that attempting to create a currency using a capital asset would be a mistake. You really don't want to price every sandwich in New York City real estate, for instance. Additionally, you don't want to price your sandwiches in Picasso paintings or in ounces of gold. I believe that you possess both capital and currency. Bitcoin is money. Digital capital is what it is. It's not virtual money. Believe that digital currency like Tether is equivalent to the dollar, which is a stable currency. Additionally, you have both strong and weak currencies. The Naira or Boulevard is a poor currency, like something that is growing by 14% or 30% annually. Strong currencies that are inflating at a rate of 7% annually did not reach me. Then there is capital, which is not at all inflating. Bitcoin is money. It isn't a powerful currency. It's a strong currency. A capital asset is what it is. I believe that some of your currencies are having difficulties because they are somewhat reliant on the dollar. Additionally, I believe that several of your currencies are depreciating in value relative to the US dollar. Then there is the dollar. The market will grow from $250 billion to $1 trillion to $2 trillion to $4 trillion to $10 trillion if stablecoins are successful and will succeed. If the US approves the Genius Bill, and if US banks and corporations are permitted to issue stablecoins backed by US dollars. Furthermore, you need to ask, who will purchase it? People who may have otherwise had rubles, CNY, or any other currency in Africa or South America are the answer. Therefore, I believe that the world's weak currencies will eventually become less significant. In my opinion, the dollar will appreciate. Our currencies, in my opinion, will be sidelined. I estimate that there are 40,000 major banks and 400 million businesses worldwide. I believe so. And there are many institutions, of course, as Bitcoin becomes more and more ingrained in the global economy. I believe that 1,000 banks will be able to trade with one another on a peer-to-peer basis. I believe that the banks, custodians, and mega corporations. I envision a world in which all of the major tech companies and banks, perhaps even Google, Apple, and Microsoft, are settling or transferring substantial sums of Bitcoin on the base layer. Governments? You would imagine that the US, Apple, Google, Bank of China, Bank of Russia, and Bank of England would be the largest users of the base layer. To the extent that any of those things are true, you would imagine that Citi would be transferring billions of dollars worth of Bitcoin to places like Santander, Deutsche Bank, Swiss Bank, and Bank of Japan if the country and the bank were real. I believe that in order to resolve some technological issue, Microsoft will transfer billions and tens of billions of Bitcoin between Google and Microsoft. It's really easy. Visit the website and follow our 3-step procedure. If you like today's content, please hit the like and subscribe buttons. I hope to see you all again soon. Goodbye.